Hey there, pizza lovers. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by. Today, we're diving into something we all universally adore, pizza. I mean, who can resist a hot, cheesy slice fresh out of the oven? Have you ever wanted to make your own pizza at home, but felt intimidated by the process? Well, stick around because I'm breaking it down step by step to show you how to make the perfect homemade pizza from scratch. From kneading the dough to adding your favorite toppings, I've got all the tips and tricks to turn your kitchen into a pizzeria. First things first, let's talk ingredients. The beauty of homemade pizza is that you can customize it to your liking, but here's what you'll need to get started. For the dough, 3½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cups of warm water, 2/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt. I prefer all-purpose flour because it's versatile and yields a crust that's crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. If you're gluten-free, feel free to substitute with a gluten-free flour blend. For the sauce, 1 can 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, 2 cloves of garlic minced, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of sugar, salt and pepper to taste, a handful of fresh basil leaves, chopped. Using fresh ingredients for the sauce really makes a difference. Plus, it's super simple to make. Toppings, 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. Your choice of toppings, pepperoni, bell peppers, onions, mushrooms, olives. The list goes on. Feel free to get creative here. Optional for dietary preferences, gluten-free flour for the dough, vegan cheese alternatives, plant-based protein toppings. Let's move on to making the dough. Don't worry, it's easier than you think. Activate the yeast. In a large mixing bowl, combine the warm water, sugar, and active dry yeast. Give it a quick stir and let it sit for about 5 minutes until it becomes frothy. This means your yeast is alive and ready to work its magic. Mix in the flour and salt. Add the olive oil, salt, and about half of the flour to the yeast mixture. Stir until it's well combined. Knead the dough. Gradually add the remaining flour while stirring. Once it becomes hard to stir, transfer the dough onto a floured surface. Knead the dough for about 8 to 10 minutes. It should be smooth and elastic, springing back when you poke it. Pro tip, if the dough is too sticky, add a little more flour. If it's too dry, add a tablespoon of water at a time. First rise. Place the dough in a lightly oiled bowl, turning it to coat all sides with oil. Cover the bowl with a clean kitchen towel or plastic wrap. Let it rise in a warm, draft-free place for about 1 to 2 hours, or until it doubles in size. Punch down and rest. After it has risen, punch down the dough to release the air. Divide it into 2 equal portions if you're making 2 pizzas. Let the dough rest for another 15 minutes before shaping it. Storage tip. If you're not using all the dough right away, you can wrap it tightly in plastic wrap and freeze it for up to 3 months. Just thaw it overnight in the refrigerator when you're ready to use it. Next up, our delicious homemade pizza sauce. Sauté garlic in a saucepan over medium heat. Warm the olive oil. Add the minced garlic and sauté for about 1 minute until it's fragrant but not browned. Add tomatoes and seasonings. Stir in the crushed tomatoes, sugar, salt, pepper, and chopped fresh basil. Mix everything together. Simmer. Lower the heat and let the sauce simmer for about 20 minutes, stirring occasionally. This helps the flavors meld together beautifully. If you prefer a smoother sauce, you can blend it using an immersion blender, or let it cool slightly and blend it in a regular blender. Taste and adjust. Give the sauce a taste and adjust the seasoning if needed. If you like a little kick, feel free to add some chili flakes. Now comes the fun part, putting it all together. Preheat the oven. Preheat your oven to 475 degrees Fahrenheit and 4 spillas. If you have a pizza stone, place it in the oven while it heats up. A hot pizza stone or baking sheet helps achieve a crispy crust. Shape the dough. On a lightly floured surface, take 1 portion of your dough and begin to shape it. You can use your hands to gently stretch it into a circle about 12 inches in diameter. If you prefer, use a rolling pin, but be gentle to preserve the air bubbles in the dough. Fun fact, the air bubbles in the dough give your crust that lovely, airy texture we all love. Prepare the baking surface. If you're not using a pizza stone, lightly oil a baking sheet or use parchment paper. Transfer the dough. Carefully place your shaped dough onto your baking sheet or a pizza peel if using a pizza stone. Add the sauce. Spoon a generous amount of your homemade sauce onto the dough, leaving about a half-inch border around the edges for the crust. Layer the cheese and toppings. Sprinkle the shredded mozzarella evenly over the sauce. Add your chosen toppings, spreading them out to ensure every bite is flavorful. Remember, it's your pizza. Add as much or as little as you like. Let's get this pizza baking. Bake the pizza. Place your pizza in the preheated oven. If using a pizza stone, slide the pizza directly onto the stone. Monitor the cooking time. Bake for 12 to 15 minutes, or until the crust is golden brown and the cheese is bubbly and slightly browned. Keep an eye on your pizza, as ovens can vary. It's better to check a minute or two early than to risk burning it. Check for doneness. The crust should be firm and slightly crisp on the bottom. If you gently lift the edge, it should hold its shape. Remove and cool slightly. Carefully remove the pizza from the oven. Let it cool for a couple of minutes to allow the cheese to set before slicing. Ready to spice things up? Here are some ideas to take your pizza to the next level. Margherita pizza. Use fresh mozzarella slices instead of shredded cheese and top with fresh basil leaves after baking. Drizzle with a little olive oil for that classic Italian touch. Meat lovers pizza. Pile on pepperoni, cooked sausage, ham, and bacon bits. It's a carnivore's dream. Veggie Supreme. Load up with bell peppers, red onions, olives, mushrooms, and cherry tomatoes. A sprinkle of feta cheese adds a nice tang. Hawaiian pizza. Combine ham or Canadian bacon with pineapple chunks for a sweet and savory combination. It's a classic for a reason. Barbecue chicken pizza. Swap out the tomato sauce for barbecue sauce. Add cooked chicken pieces, red onion slices, and cilantro. Top with a mix of mozzarella and cheddar cheese. To make a stuffed crust, roll string cheese sticks into the edge of the dough before adding your toppings. For a deep dish variation, press your dough into a well-oiled cast iron skillet and layer your toppings differently. Cheese first, then toppings, and sauce on top. Accommodating dietary restrictions is easy. Use gluten-free flour for the dough, dairy-free cheese alternatives, and load up on veggies or plant-based proteins for vegan options. Presentation makes your homemade pizza even more impressive. Slice it up. Use a sharp pizza cutter or large knife to slice your pizza into equal pieces. For a traditional pizza, cut it into 8 slices. Garnish. Sprinkle freshly grated Parmesan cheese, red pepper flakes, or chopped fresh basil over the top for added flavor and color. Serve immediately. Pizza is best enjoyed hot, so dig in while it's fresh out of the oven. Side dishes and drinks. Pair your pizza with a fresh green salad, garlic knots, or some roasted veggies. As for drinks, a cold soda, iced tea, or your favorite beer or wine complements the meal perfectly. For an extra touch, drizzle a bit of pesto or balsamic glaze over the top before serving. It adds a gourmet flair to your homemade creation. Ran into some bumps along the way? Let's troubleshoot. Soggy crust. This usually happens if the oven isn't hot enough or if there's too much moisture from toppings or sauce. Make sure to preheat your oven thoroughly and go easy on the sauce and watery vegetables. Burnt crust or toppings. If your crust is burning before the toppings are cooked, try lowering the oven rack or reducing the oven temperature slightly. Also, check the pizza a few minutes earlier next time. Dough didn't rise. This could be due to expired yeast or water that's too hot, which can kill the yeast. Ensure your yeast is fresh and the water is warm, not hot. Crust too tough. Overworking the dough can lead to a tough crust. Knead just until the dough is smooth and elastic. Adjusting for high altitude. If you're baking at a high altitude, you may need to reduce the yeast slightly and increase the liquid. Dough rises faster at higher altitudes, so keep an eye on it. Reheating leftovers. To reheat pizza without making it chewy or soggy, place it in a skillet over medium heat with a lid on top. Heat for a few minutes until the cheese melts and the crust crisps up. And there you have it, your very own homemade pizza that's sure to impress. Making pizza from scratch is not only fun, but also allows you to customize it exactly how you like it. Plus, it's a great activity to do with family or friends. I hope you found this guide helpful and feel inspired to give it a try. If you do, snap a photo and tag me on social media. I love seeing your creations. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more delicious recipes and cooking tips. Ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Got any questions or want to share your favorite pizza toppings? Drop a comment below. Stay tuned because next week we'll be exploring the world of homemade pasta. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy cooking.